If anyone does not abide in me, he is cast out as a branch and is withered, and they gather them and they throw them into the fire, and they are burned. It almost sounds like somebody's losing their salvation, doesn't it? But I don't necessarily think that that is the case. If anyone does not abide in me. Well, one of the things I'll point out here is that Jesus has complete understanding of those who belong to him and those who don't. And those who have come to him and who are in him and who are truly born again, there's a work that he's now doing in them that he has promised to do until it's all said and done. You follow what I'm saying?
Now, some Christians believe that no true believer can stop believing and abiding in Christ. So how do they interpret John 15:6? Let's break it down. In John 15, Jesus says, "If any man abides not in me, he's cast forth as a branch and is withered, and men gather them and cast them into the fire, and they are burned." The Reformed or perseverance perspective says that a true believer can never ultimately fail to abide, so this is just a warning to superficial believers. But there are a few problems here. The first problem is that Jesus is only speaking to his disciples in the direct context, the people who are already in the vine. Why warn them about something that could never happen to them? Secondly, verse 2 suggests that some branches in the vine do not bear fruit. "Every branch in me that bears not fruit, he takes away." But yet verse 5 says, "He that abides in me brings forth much fruit." If every branch is an abiding branch in this view and cannot be cut off, this implies a tension. Are there unfruitful branches in the vine that are unsaved? It says they're in the vine, but they're not abiding, since every abiding branch is fruitful, abundantly fruitful. Thirdly, under this interpretation, the cut off branch in verse 6 is understood to merely be a professing believer that was never actually truly saved or part of the vine. But a concern with this view is that Jesus defines the branches as the disciples in verse 5. He says, "You are the branches." The language doesn't exclude them or switch to talking about unbelievers. There's only one vine in the context. Any branches in context come from this vine, even the ones that are cast into the fire. This proves that a true believer from the vine can be cut off, cease abiding, and be tossed into the fire, which many of them interpret as hell. So in summary, I think the perseverance interpretation struggles immensely with John 15. The text is about active abiding. It's about the natural consequence of failing to abide, which is a very real scenario for any true believer, including the disciples. Stay tuned for part 3, where I go over the free grace interpretation, which I think harmonizes this text the best.